good afternoon, depending on where you are. I'm here live in the West Coast. Look, we have a nice intimate crowd, so if you guys could turn your cameras on, that'd be good. It's always nice to speak directly to people. So my name is Chirag Shah, the founder of Chirag Shah Coaching. I'm joined by my dear friend and client, Gretchen Coley, and you guys are all in for a treat today. You know, as new markets emerge and new trends happen, one of the biggest challenges that we have as agents and entrepreneurs is always figuring out what to do next. You know, when something new comes, it can be very challenging for people. And I always say, the biggest challenges are the most hidden opportunities. And I'm excited for Gretchen to also share how her team is selling more than an average of a house a day while living through one of the most challenging markets. Has anyone ever, normally when interest rates are high, inventory is also high, but we've never seen a market that has high inventory and low inventory and high interest rates. So we want to be able to really take the time to go through and show you guys what are the things that agents are doing are most successful. Now, the benefit that I would say our unfair competitive advantage is we only work with Compass agents. So we have thousands of agents in every different state and hundreds of regions around the country. So we're able to really compile data and meaningful stories in a way that we can connect with you. So Gretchen, you want to introduce yourself real quick? Can you guys pin her with me?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hi, I'm Gretchen Coley. I am the team lead of the Coley Group in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I've been working with Chirag since August of last year. It's been a wild and fun ride. And I've been in real estate for over 23 years. I came from new home sales, so I've kind of seen all facets of it. And, you know, I have one of the top team with Compass in the Triangle. What
is the triangle? So for people who don't
know. The triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill.
So now I'm going to get started before we get into the questions, right? In terms of framework, as this market changed, what did you feel the biggest shift your team would have to make was?
Well, a lot, you know, there's a lot of big shifts, right? Like every week is a big shift. But I think overall, a lot of the members on my team per se have never been through a declining market or a contracting market. So really the mindset of it all is where the power is. And I think that is the biggest shift that needs to happen. And then you have to figure out, you know, where are the gaps in your business that you need to fill? And what are the time-tested truths that have worked all along the way? Because it's kind of like health and fitness, right? Calories in, calories out equals weight loss or weight gain. The things that we do that generate business for us don't change. We tweak them a little bit, and you might do it differently over here than you do it over here. But for the most part, real estate's a relationship business. So really, you know, making sure that you're focused on that and you're staying true to the things that have always worked.
Now, in one of the biggest shifts that I know that you wanted to make from our time we started working together is actually working on your skill set, right? So tell them a little bit about that and kind of how that came about. When we'll dive into specifics, like what are you guys all doing every day? How's it been working? What's the impact? Where was the resistance? So in terms of diving into like skill set, and I remember Gretchen saying this, she's like, we all need to be able to talk and sound like you.
We do. I think my whole team is on here. So shout out to the Coley Group who's out in the other room watching. So really when it comes, here's my thought process. During COVID, and really for the last 10 years, we have been in a very good market. We were in a market for 3 years where you could almost do no wrong. You could really suck at your job and you could still win, right? And so complacency is a terrible attribute for someone who is in a commissioned position. And I feel like a lot of people got very complacent because, you know, it was easy to list a house and price it and sell it for over. And, you know, you can talk about that on social media and all of that, and you get more business from it and yada, yada, yada. But when you're complacent, you're not improving. In fact, you're declining and you're allowing other people to get better than you are. So when I started working with Chirag, after we got past our first initial shock and awe of him dropping a bomb on my business in the nicest possible way, I really wanted to make sure that my agents had the skills, the hard skills and the soft skills to be able to navigate really tricky conversations that many of them had never really had to have with people. And really the communication piece of it, the empathy piece of it, the understanding, how to listen and then how to frame to handle objections and to get people to move towards their goal instead of away from it out of fear. That was the thing that we dialed in on the most. That, and then, getting back into our database and touching our people to get business instead of just sitting back and waiting for business to come to us.
Now, as most people in real estate, when you told everyone that we want to practice talking to people and what to do in this way, were they all really excited about it, or were they all really reluctant?
No. If you say the word role play, people run, right? The people, they get up out of their chair, their phone all of a sudden rings, right? And they're gone. So, people typically don't like to do that. It's not a fun thing for them. So really you just have to kind of ingrain it in your system and make it a part of what you do every day, because like you said, you said it best when you met with my team the first time. The objections that people have don't change. They've been the same. They're all the same. They're not that special. Every once in a while, you'll get a flutter of something that's a little bit different. But for the most part, people have the same questions, concerns, and objections over and over and over again. And if you're not skilled at being able to answer those, or you're afraid to ask questions because you don't want to have to answer something like that, that's a terrible position to be in as a commissioned person.
So here, let me ask everyone, how many people really like catalog, understand, and practice handling the biggest, I would say an objection is more of a clarifying question.
Yeah.
And so when people don't understand things, they ask questions, right? So if people are asking you questions, how many people actively work on this? Hit yes or no in the chat.
My team is saying yes, all of them.
That's because I hope they would say yes. Is the chat open? That'll be my next question. Don't be shy. We're all in here together. So assuming by the fact that nobody answers, I'm going to say not as often as I should. Thank you, Amy.
Look, right, if you're not answering, that's an answer, and we know what the answer is.
Yeah. The answer is no, right? So if you start thinking about the framework of a challenging market, it's having challenging conversations.
With ease.
With ease. Look, I'll go through some just basic concepts for you before we get into diving into these specific things. And I like small groups. I don't get to do this very often, so I'm actually really excited for this today.
I am too.
The first thing is when you're working with somebody, it's always their choice. I can't say to Mavis, that's a cool name, Mavis. I can't say to you, hey, why don't you come to my office today? You're going to buy a home. I don't get to say to Jane, hey, Jane, I'm coming over today. You're going to sell your home. So it's always their choice. And I think when it comes to realtors, we genuinely forget that all the time. And once you accept it's somebody's choice, everything else is easy, because your job is just to be a facilitator. That's all you're there to do, is facilitate what you need to facilitate to help somebody get to their goal. Now, the second thing is the person asking the questions controls the conversation. If you're talking the entire time, how much space do you give another person to share with you why they're making the choice, what choice they want to make, how they want to get there, when they, like all of these different things? Because buying and selling a home is one of the most difficult and worst processes you could humanly go to. Number 3 and number 4, I would say, are married together. Everything has to be in the benefit of the client and always be in agreement. No one wants to hire someone that doesn't see things the way they want to see it and that doesn't agree with them. Now, naturally, what people are going to say, I love it. Gretchen always takes notes even when she's on the call. Now, here's the thing. If the question that people have is this, okay, but what happens if my clients are crazy?
And they will be.
Yeah, you can't fix crazy. Half these people are sociopaths, right? Like some of the stuff that they want out of another human is nuts. Now, the thing about it is this. If you take a step back and realize your job is to be a facilitator, and you share data points and logical information that you have no control over, and they need to interpret it and make the choice that's best for them. So we'll go through like our first example. How many people here, and no one wanted to turn their camera on, so I can't get people to raise their hands. It's like, how often do you hear, I don't want to overpay for a home?
Oh, every day. I mean,
Every
10
day.
times a day, right?
Now, here's the thing. When you say, I don't want to overpay for a home, always be in agreement with the client. I completely understand, Gretchen. Overpaying for anything's a terrible feeling. So would you mind sharing with me what the right deal is for you and your family? And would it be okay if we looked at the market through the eyes of your goals and expectations?
Mhm.
Now watch this. This is where the magic happens. Now I would go back and I'd look at the comparable homes, and I would say, look, this is what other buyers have been willing to pay for homes, or this is what buyers are spending, or this is what buyers are paying to win a home in this market. Now I've gone back 3 months. Take a look at these houses, and they're in the areas you want. Are any of the deals you feel right for you? Are any of them here? They're going to say no. Then I'm going to go back 6 months. Then I'm going to go back 12 months. I'm going to go back 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And then I'm going to go back another 6 months to 18 months. And at the end of it, I'd turn around, I would say, Jane, based on what you feel would be the right deal for you and your family, none of them have been available for the last 18 months. How can I best support you moving forward? Remember, it's always their choice. Now, that's new world, our way of suggesting agents do it. You look at the old world, well, if you look at the data and what other people are paying, and this is what the market, like, you're sitting there explaining it to them. And that goes to point number 4, no telling, no explaining, or no being combative. Once you do that, you lose. Point number 5,
And
never.
why is it though that real estate agents want to always combat? That is one of the hardest skills for me to teach as a coach and to my team is, really going through and understanding what people's needs are. And they'll ask a question and then their immediate response is they want to go, well, this, that, and the other. They want to explain something when really you're trying to discover. It's a hard skill to teach, but it is ultimately the skill that will help you win over and over and over again.
Yeah, 100%. So look, why are people combative? I can tell you why. You want to share something with somebody and you want to influence another person to see your point of view. But the problem in this is it's not your point of view. These are numbers that you can't change. You have no control over what other buyers are willing to pay for homes, and you have no control over what sellers are willing to accept for the price of their homes. So what is there to combat? In the end of the day, they want to do it or not do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So number 5 is no telling, no explaining, no being combative. Number 6, never be attached to the outcome. If something is your choice, how can I be attached to any of the choices you make?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say in any relationship, this is the hardest part.
It really is.
If you're a parent and you have kids, you can't be attached to the outcome that the choices your kids make, but you want them to do the right thing. You're helping somebody with a project and it's something that you know better than the other person. But if you're attached to a certain way it looks, what does that really do for the other person? It gives them no space, no freedom. It's none of their thoughts. It's nothing. It makes them feel like what they want doesn't matter in the transaction.
One thing that I've learned over my career, and in starting in new home sales, just to add a little color to this, we used to frame our words in a way because they always blame the person that sits on site, right? Anytime the builder says no, anything. And you want to say, I did this, or we did this, or whatever. And I used to reframe that and say, the builder, the developer says, the builder, the developer says. And it was a way to detach myself from that. I didn't realize what I was doing until you started teaching us this, be unattached to the outcome. And I think when you get to a level in your business where you truly can be unattached to the outcome, it is so freeing, because I know as real estate agents, myself and my team, we get so invested in our clients and we feel like we're supposed to be the vehicle that is, that is moving everything forward, that we're responsible in some kind of way for all of these things that we have no control over. And it's very hard to sleep at night when you're not attached and someone else has made a choice for themselves that you did not put any of your baggage. You didn't shop out of your own pocket with it. None of your baggage is there. You sleep so good at night, and it's a much more productive and mentally healthy way to do the business, right?
100%. All right. How am I pronouncing it right? I'm going to unmute you since you're very participatory. Tell me why that is. So, and how do I pronounce your name correctly?
It's Mavis.
Mavis. I think I got it right one. She said she wrote that she finds it easier to be detached, represent the buyer, but much harder when a seller. Why is that?
Different things are happening around the country. I'm on the West Coast rather. And here in the Bay Area, it is very typical that we make a lot of recommendations for getting a house ready for sale. And so you've just told this seller, hey, I recommend that you change the floors, you get new countertops, you paint, you stage, you're recommending large quantities of money being sunk into this house. And so then I get attached to, got to get them their money back plus, I get really, really, and I know it was their choice to put the money in, but it was my recommendation. So that's when I get really attached. With buyers, I feel a little different.
But I don't think that's being attached. That's caring. So being attached to an outcome means that you're pushing someone to an outcome that they may or may not want because you think it's the right thing to do.
Okay. So that would be, an example of that would be somebody says, look, I just need to get rid of the property. I'll take 500,000. And you're thinking, what are you nuts? You should do this and get 750. That's being more attached. Okay.
Totally.
Look, I'll tell you guys this, and I'll tell all of you this. I'm trying to, guys, gals, I was getting mixed up with all this. So for everyone here, this is what you want to ask people. Hey, we find people have two schools of thoughts when selling their home. They're happy with the equity and the market gain over the last few years and feel good about where it is today. Where the second school of thought is they want an agent to sit down and share with them all the different ideas, strategies, and options in unlocking the most equity they could possibly get at this time. Which one do you align with more?
Bingo.
And they're going to tell you, and then you're going to do that. Hit yes, or if any of you guys actually want to write in and engage with us, who here now sees a value in learning how to talk to people, right? Like it's indefinite what this is. And look, I'm going to share some things that I would say from an industry perspective is that, look, you have changes that are happening that you have no control over, literally none. If you look at how involved the Department of Justice is in real estate right now, it is scary. Because here's the thing, and I'll give you a little like history of Compass. Robert in 2019 said, when he came out with this whole coming soon thing, movie trailers, and anyone that knows Robert knows that like if he could have another career, it'd be making movie trailers. He thinks it's like the most exciting thing in the world, right? It's like, how do I capture a whole thing in like 2 minutes and get people excited? So here's what he said, though, like in the Bay Area, right? In San Francisco, Compass is like 50-60% market share. So it's like, if you went to San Francisco and we all did coming soons, if you weren't on compass.com, you'd be missing 50-60% of the market. Now, any market, he's like, we have 20% or more market share, we win because you're missing out 1 out of every 5 homes. Now, the entire industry got so threatened by that. NAR changed a 100-year-old rule about the way that you have to take a property and put it on the MLS. They dictated the coming soon rules, and you have to submit it within 24 hours. And something, I remember that day happening, and I remember being like, wow, this is crazy that the entire industry changes for this. They have all these stupid rules that make no sense that they still haven't changed. And for my fun fact is I started selling real estate when I was 23. So I've done your job for 14 years of my life, and I had a brokerage. And then I said to them, I go, something really bad's going to happen out of this, because a real estate association cannot tell people that are private homeowners what they can and can't do with their house. Now you take that and that opened the window, because Now you throw that in with blanket compensation. Now it's a violation of antitrust. You're telling people how they need to market their property, what they need to do, a certain amount they need to pay people. Like, it's nuts. So now you have all these antitrust lawsuits. And because of that, put your property on 24 hours, they're saying it restricts homeowners' options, that it's a monopoly, that it doesn't give other people that have businesses that want to put properties on their websites before they go on the market a fair chance. It's a problem, right? So if you look at the first lawsuit, I forget which state exactly it's in because there are two of them. The judge ruled it as a class action lawsuit. Then they had NAR appealed it. The appeal was declined, and the compensatory damage for the 5 large brokerages there are $43 billion if they lose and they go to trial. So what do you think is going to happen? They're going to settle. Then once they settle, it's going to become case law, and before you know it, it's done. And this trial is set to start in May and June. I can't imagine it going for more than a year. So in the next 18 months, you know what's going to happen? This entire industry is going to change. Now, the challenge that's going to come out of this change, in which I'm excited about, people like Gretchen could not be positioned better because we're planning for this for all of our clients. So here's the thing. You go to a car dealership and you're looking at an Escalade. There's a $80,000 version and a $150,000 version. Now, in this metaphor, that's like an agent that offers 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3%. And you're going to say, what are the differences I get? Well, if you can't communicate your value in a way that a person understands what the difference in the agent is, the only thing you have left to compete on is price. That's it. It's the only thing left.
When you compete on price, you lose. There is a slippery slope. It's hard to ever get it back.
And it's like, if you have 10 houses for sale in one subdivision and nothing selling, it's what I call the race to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Who here needs a price reduction? Hit yes if you want a price reduction. I'm going to give you guys, today I'm just going to go through a bunch of just scripts and things you can say and things that you can apply into your business.
I think Chirag, you need to talk about, for anybody who doesn't know you, the sheet about the things that you can control. I don't know. I can't remember what you call it, but I want you to talk about that.
It's an effective partnership. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. So when you have a price reduction, generally speaking, who wants to share what they normally do with a client? Hit yes, and we'll unmute you. All right, James Baldwin, where are you? You're the next contestant on The Conversations, right?
I'm here.
So James, in a few short sentences, if I was going to ask you for a price reduction, what would you do?
You were going to ask me for a price reduction.
If you wanted me to reduce my price, what would you say to me?
Well, I mean, it's understanding the seller's motivation, but also I always work off of the comparables in the market. You know, we're in Baltimore, Maryland. We have a really interesting situation here where if there are properties downtown that say don't have parking in certain areas that are hard to park, it's a whole different way to sell a house. And so where it's priced one way without having it. So it's for us, it's like distinguishing those kinds of things that maybe set it apart. I'm really on the spot here, so I'm going fast.
So look, in a nutshell, what you're going to do, what you're trying to say is you're going to sit down with me and you're going to go through all the data and you're going to try to lecture me like a college professor into understand why I should lower my price.
Correct.
Now watch this. Framing is the context in which you set up a conversation. So in framing, in the way that we share it with people, it's getting people to align with a concept based on their current belief and value system. Now watch this. If I'm going to talk to you about anything about a price reduction, I'm going to start off and we have our own pre-qualifying process, asking someone what their motivations are, their expectations, their disappointments, their concerns. And this is why you need an actual system on how to work with people, because everything's important, not just today, but in the future, because it's all built together. So I'd turn around to you and I'd say, look, James, you and I always like to use the example of two people empty nesting going from New York City to Florida, right? It's a very easy example. I'd say, you and your wife are really excited to move to Florida because you want to retire. And what you're most excited about getting there was the savings in state income tax would allow you to go on all these vacations you dream of after doing the number with the CPA. And they're going to say, yeah, that's what I'm really excited about. I'm going to say, look, based on our current position, not even pricing, based on our current position in the market, it's not creating a value. Gretchen's writing this down. Is creating a value in the eyes of the buyer. So essentially, we have four different, I would say we, if you say you, it's like combative, right? We have four different choices we can make. I want to go through the options with you and let you know, regardless of what you choose to do, I want to support you 100%. Is that okay? And they're going to say yes. So given that there are blank amount of homes in your area that are not moving, the first person that improves the price to create a value in the eyes of the buyer today is going to set the market. Then the remaining blank amount of homes are all going to be in a rush to follow the market. And then the people that sit there and wait the longest are ultimately going to be left with the market. And the fourth choice we have is if you don't want to go to Florida and go on those vacations, that's fine too. And you could just choose to stay at your home, but be mindful that once you're left with the market, that is the new market for this area. So which one of those floor options do you think will work best for you?
Good.
That's it.
I usually try not to present more than 3. I just think it just gets hard for them to
You
decide.
always got to give them the choice of staying in their home
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah,
that shows you're not attached to the outcome.
It's always the last choice.
Yeah. Set the market, follow the market, be left with the market. And then, but that makes complete sense to somebody, right?
Mhm.
That is a lot.
I think using the word positioning too, and I wrote that, that's what I wrote down, because that's something that we've changed in the way that we speak, because nobody wants to reduce their price. They don't want to hear that. And when you lead with that, it puts them in a very defensive position, right? So when you lead with positioning of your home, the positioning of your home is not demonstrating a value in the eyes of a buyer, not pricing. And I think that's a lot more palatable. Like, words are really powerful, right? Like, the words that you use are really important. And that shift in itself has made a lot of very difficult pricing conversations a little easier on our end.
100%. So do you guys feel good about now having that conversation? So look, out of this, we're about 30 minutes into this. You guys now know how to deal with buyers that don't want to overpay, and you now know how to get price reductions.
Is there another objection?
Yeah, I'm going to let me pull up a couple of these that they have, and I'm going to kind of just start distilling out of this. Hold on. This is what it looks like when I have to work out of a hotel room and travel. I'm in San Francisco, so if you're in the Bay Area, come visit me tomorrow. I'll be at Beach Street.
Mm-hmm.
Gretchen, can you see all the little tiles on my screen or no?
No, I can't see the tiles. I can only see your
Prices. And okay, so hold on a second. Let me go through this before I even do this. There's a difference between objections and conditions. Prices and interest rates are too high to make a move right now. Great. So if prices and interest rates are too high to make a move right now, what specifically can I help you with? There's people come to us because they know we're good with like dialogues and conversations. You can't influence a person to do something they don't want to do because it's always their choice. Gretchen?
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that this morning in our meeting. It's you can't sell someone a house they don't want to buy, right? You just can't. So we have shifted to using this, what Chirag just said. What specifically brings you in today? Or what specifically has you spending your valuable time to meet with me today? Sometimes I'll say, it sounds like you've already made a decision. What specifically it has you meeting with me today? And that, I think, some people can get away with saying that, some people can't, but I think it's a very powerful thing that kind of diffuses it. And they're like, wait a second, that's not, I haven't made a decision yet.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. When you say the word specifically, it triggers someone's brain to give you a real answer. So look, Gretchen comes to my office and we're talking about selling my home. And she's like, prices and rates are too high to make a move right now. I'd say, great. I said, look, Gretchen, I completely understand understand you. Sounds like you made up a decision. I know your time's very important. What specifically made you take the time out of your day to come here and speak with me today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's ding. Inventory's too low. There aren't enough choices for me to buy. Where will I go? And then you're going to go back to their motivations, right? And it's going to say, look, like ultimately in this scenario, I would go through what their home was worth and the trajectory of it. And you're going to say, look, the decision you have to make is unlocking this much equity where it's at this type of peak over the last 10 years, something important to you, right? And based on that, you'll have to look at the options and make a decision, because look, there's no guarantee that there'll be more inventory, but when there is more inventory, there's also going to be more buyer demand, multiple offers, and you could have more options, but you're going to have to pay more money too.
I think this is a big one, Chirag. And I think, you know, in my experience, and I'm just speaking from my experience, people don't move to unlock equity. They just don't. They move because there's something else there. So anytime somebody presents me with, you know, I'm sitting on a lot of equity in this house and I really want to just move, and they're saying these kinds of things, there's not enough choices. Inventory is really low. Where will I go? You have to really dig into that and figure out what is missing in their lifestyle, or what life event has happened or is happening, because you got to speak to that. Because like people can go take a home equity line, take equity out of their house.
It also comes down to like what you're saying, what's
so taking it back to the motivation of, okay, here's the problem that I'm having, and then being able to say, okay, I can help you with that solution. And there's a lot of ways that we can handle a low inventory market. We as agents have a lot of skills to create opportunities where there are not any, but we have to figure out if that person is super motivated first.
Yeah, it comes down to what's the trigger event in your life that kind of caused this all to happen. And like, you know, what's your motivation? What are you most excited about happening as a result of moving? And when they go back to that, they start thinking about what the future is.
They do. They start, if you can get them to visualize the future, if you can get them to start talking about it. One question that Chirag has got us asking on our team is, the first question we ask is, what is motivating you to make this move? And what are you excited about when that happens? Or what is going to, what is it, what do you see happening for yourself when you get to Florida, or when you get to wherever? If you can get them to articulate that to you in a way that they can express their feelings, not their thoughts, but their feelings, you have so much more of an opportunity of being able to help them get to where they want to go. But it's got to be the emotion behind it.
Exactly. Look, these all come down to the same thing. It's not a great market. I prefer to, if that's how someone really feels, then that's how they feel, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things I learned out of getting these responses was how many times people just need to learn to say no.
Mm-hmm. Well, this one too, I think, you know, Chirag, I think this one, it's not a great market. I'd prefer to wait. I feel like that is
smoke screen.
It's a smokescreen. It's a real objection, but they're talking to you. They already know all of that, but they don't know how to ask you the question without giving away all their cards, right? It's kind of like it's easier to say no than it is to say yes. So they don't know how to ask you, how's the market? Do you think I should wait? Is it beneficial to buy now? They don't want to ask that and put themselves in a position to be sold to. So when they say it's not a great market, I'd prefer to wait, I would just ask them, can you explain that to me? Can you tell me, you know, what you feel like a bad market is? I'd like to understand it through your lens. I'd like to understand how you're feeling through your lens. And I'd prefer to wait. You know, I'd like to understand what waiting is going to do for you.
Use the words, help me understand.
Help me understand. Help me understand how waiting is going to help you, because people they will not make a decision if there is fear present. And these two comments are 110% fear, right? So if you can understand what that fear is, why they have it, and then circle around the other way, you can make a lot of headway with that one, and you can figure out if it's a real objection or not. Chances are, if they're sitting with you, it's not a real objection.
So look, the other one, I want to price my house higher just to see what happens. Like, look, there are a few different ways of doing this, right? Because look, in the end, when that comes up, people are tied to something, right? So
Mhm.
here's a couple different things you could say. You know, I want to, you go through the comps and everything else like that. I want to price my house to see what happens. I completely understand. And I would say, what will happen for you if you're able to sell at this price? And the other question I have is, what won't happen to you if you can sell at this price? Right. And then the third question I would ask him is, if you're unable to get this price for your home, what's your plan B?
Bingo.
And we have other scripts and stuff in our program, because ideally, like these are like your last resort questions, but then the people uncover their motivation. In a perfect world, I'd say, you know, I'm really looking at this because these are the things that are really happening. I counted all this money, but it's like when a person says to you, why are you different than other agents? What they're really trying to ask you is, you know, there's a certain set of things that I want, and I'm trying to understand if you have them or not, but they're not trained salespeople, right? So here's what we want to do now. We still have another 22 minutes. I want to take some time and I want to share with you our newest coaching program, the Compass Selling System, and then I want to open it up to Q&A. So essentially, Gretchen has been one of the things that makes our programs unique. It's not just our ideas, it's a collaboration of all of our top clients. I know that Gretchen has personally reviewed every bit of material in here. And a lot of these things are the things that we've been using with our best clients, even people, thank God they don't revolt against us, like in a $25,000 a year mastermind. And I realized, both as a broker and a coach, that coaching needs to be just like Compass into one platform. So let me just share my screen. I want to show you what this kind of what the dream is and what we're like essentially looking to build together. You know, and I would say one of the things that we lean in on the most here is community. So when we dream of coaching, we dream of this single platform. Gretchen, can you see the toolbar on my screen or no?
Yep. No, I see that your screen's right. You're good.
Okay, my slide is clear. Okay, perfect.
Uh-huh.
You know, when I think of the future of coaching, and I think of all of you, it's the same thing that you came to Compass for, one platform, right? Netflix is great because it's one platform where you can find TV shows, documentaries, and everything you want. Spotify is great because it offers the same concept. And what I realized is this is the biggest gap in coaching. So if you're an agent, you could want to grow your team, grow your business on social media, get better sales skills, hire people, work on branding, train in admin. You need training for how to use all the tools together, leadership, email marketing, business building, to be a CEO. And look, essentially, this is like 10 to 14 different coaching programs. And what I find the challenges that agents have is they're going from place to place to place when it should be in one place. So essentially, for those of you who decide to join our community, this is what we're building together for you. It has always been my dream to make something like Compass just for coaching, a single platform. So everything we share with you today will be what the program is, but I always find that people love to know what the future is. So this is what we're building together. And look, essentially, if you like the way I talk, you like the way I work, this is my 13 plus years of selling, my 4.5 years of exclusively coaching Compass agents, the 15,000 plus hours I've done in individual coaching sessions, and one-on-one 1,000 plus group training sessions all rolled into one. So what really is end-to-end the Compass selling system? If you're here at Compass, you want to get the most out of the technology and tools here. The challenge that we all have here today is there's 9 tools that how to effectively work with a seller, and there's no training that's ever existed before today on how to use them together. This is what the Compass selling system is. So in terms of where we are, our first tier of membership has been sold out at $200, and we're at $250. And eventually when it launches, or when we get to 3,000 people first, it will go to $500. So look, I always say there's a value in getting in early, right? And the numbers speak for themselves. So it's not a matter of a financial investment, because if you sell one $500,000 house over the 6-month period, it's an 833% return on your ROI. So the question is, why you, why now? Well, Compass Tech is the what, the how is our system and strategy, and really the why you're doing it is to give more value to your clients. Now, here's the part that we're most excited about, is the live Compass tools training. You know, Trisha Barlow, who's our partner in this program, worked with Sky in the 10 by 10. She knows the tools intricately, but most importantly, she's learned to train them in the context of how they all go together and in one seamless system. So as part of this system that you're buying into, it's 6 to 8 live training sessions per week and the opportunity to ask live Q&A. And when you think about tool trainings, I think the biggest challenge is, look, Compass did its job. They built the platform for you, and they'll show you how to use all the different features. But I would say the thing that agents struggle the most is, if I go to Business Tracker, what is one way I should use it? How exactly should I use my CRM? How do I pitch collections as comps, and how do I put it all together? So we go through how to demo it and all of these things where all the steps are figured out for you. So essentially just learning one thing that's repeatable and predictable. Delegating tasks, if whether you're a team or an individual agent, when all these things are done for you. So we find that there's 95 steps in this entire seller process. So whether they're pre-written emails, the exact buttons to hit with tools, communication plans, different marketing plans, all of these things are done so you can delegate easy. So if you're an individual agent, this is a great way to be able to compete with the team. And if you're a team leader, this is a great way for you to get more out of your staff and your team members. Look, repeatable and predictable. We all know that if you go to a 5-star Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, they have a repeatable, predictable system in the way they service clients. And that's what we've created for you. Literally, if there's an email that needs to go out as part of the process, we've done it for you. So the great part as an agent is the day that this opens, it's all plug and play, everything in your inbox in one day. It's not like you have to go through session after session after session, then you have to do more work, and then you hope you get it right. We realized the best thing that we could do for our clients was create an incredible value in a changing market. And if we can do the work for you, we're going to do it for you. Now, getting your time back. Now, I find that being a parent of a 7- and 9-year-old, time is my most valuable commodity, and I can't get it back. So from having structured communication plans to show you how to get your clients to communicate in the way that makes sense for you and creates them a better process, pre-made templates, and a process that works, there's no more guesswork of like, what do I do next? How do I service a client? What do I do with this? There's so many times that we're trying to figure out what to do. That's where all the unexpected challenges arrive. Now, look, ongoing updates. This is the only system program that exists that the content will never go outdated. So as the market shifts, our conversations are going to shift. There's bonus webinars that I'll be doing like we did today. We want to make sure that our system adjusts to what the current market is. And as new trends come out, we're going to have to keep adding on to it. When Client Dashboard comes out, we're going to make all training on it. And if a Compass tool comes out, within 7 to 10 days, we'll have new training in for you and how to use it in context of everything together. Now, look, who's this for? If you're a team leader, we have special founding member offers. You can delegate day-to-day tasks. There's pre-written emails, and essentially you could train your team around one system. If you're a solo agent, look, this will save you money, save you time, run more listings. You have a step-by-step system, and ultimately you know how to use all the tools together. If you're a team member, this is how you grow your listing business. The time to be prepared for a pitch is not when you get one, it's well in advance. Because what we know is people that practice, that have a system, have confidence. And confidence is paired with trust. When you see someone really confident in who they are, what they offer, and what they do, people can trust you. Because look, if you're getting into this new world and you're pitching against someone that's in this program, imagine a person or like Gretchen handing us out like, look, this is my 95-step end-to-end client experience. We don't leave any detail to chance. And here are all the things we do for our commission. And here are all the people that are involved, or even if it's one agent, here are all the things we do. Now you can hire people and outsource the VAs in other areas because it's very controlled what they do because we already made it for you. Now, we're going to go through some of the benefits of our founding memberships. Now, if you're a team leader, you can have access up to 10 team members. We're going to do 2 exclusive webinars where we're going to give you all the things you need to develop your value proposition, and then a follow-up one on how to recruit using your value proposition. There's also going to be 2 90-minute bonus business planning calls with me at the end of the year. And another thing that we have not done before, our training platform has over 700 training videos, 300 scripts and deliverables, buyer stuff, seller stuff, team stuff, technology stuff. We're going to give you an all-access pass to our platform and every bit of training we've ever done as part of this membership as a founding member. And for team members, it's very similar. The webinars that you're going to get is maximizing your CRM to create a predictable income and how to defend your commission. And additionally, for all the groups, if you've enjoyed the words we've saying and you really want to practice, there's 6 live group playing calls led by me throughout the next throughout the back 6 months of the year, all with other Compass agents. And you guys
I
get
want to
to
do that. Can I role play with you for those?
yes. So you could be my guest when we do the next one.
Awesome.
So the all access platform pass as well. So all of this is an incredible value in the sense of, if you do the 6-month membership and you sell a home, you get 833%. If you want to do the legacy membership, one home's still 250%, but I'm confident that regardless of which you choose to do, you'll win. I personally like the legacy memberships because each year you could renew at your rate. The same thing you can if you lock into 250, but we're just going to keep adding all these bonuses because I know at the end of the year, the time that I spend with people through business planning, role playing, defending commission, your value proposition, these are the real multipliers. Because again, we give you all the things so they're plug and play. So if you want to, you go with the legacy founding membership, you buy 6 months, you get 6 months free, right? And you're branded a founding member, and you guys are the ones that we're going to reach out to when we hire our next coach on our CRM on how to do it, right? Like, we want to hear from the founding members, just like they did when they built Compass. What do you guys find most important? What would be most helpful for your business? And this is how we're going to build this together. I can tell you that, as Robert says, no one succeeds alone. And ultimately, I need your help in building this community so we could get to the next step. And the same thing, there's a monthly membership. You can pay with your 10 by $10, or if you have any kind of AIP money or coaching dollar, whatever it is, or you can just pay for yourself. I always say the best investment you can make is in yourself. And now I can give you guys an idea of what is coming next. So once we get to 1,000 people, right? And I believe we're about 30 some odd % of the way there. I'm going to hire a CRM coach that goes to this program. They're going to be doing 4 programs at once. One that says, I don't know anything, how do I get started? A beginner version, an intermediate version, and an advanced version. And our founding members are going to help shape the content. And the beautiful part is there is no additional cost to you in this. It's all included in your membership. When we get to 1,500 people, we're going to hire a social media and marketing coach. So all the ways that you want to grow your business through marketing and social, again, there's going to be 4 different programs at once. When we get to 2,000 people, we're going to hire an event planner. So you're going to have every email, every template, every plug and play available. So this is essentially what you are joining. I believe this is the future of coaching. And I believe the people that are going to obviously get in the beginning are going to get the best value. And Gretchen, we put the link in the chat if you want to sign up. But Gretchen will tell you everything in here she's seen and she's used. And, you know, if you want to add something, you can add something. If not, we'll open it up.
I would say, I know that that's a lot of information. And, you know, in my experience has been, I met Chirag in August of last year. I wrote him a $33,000 check, the first phone call. And he has been in my pocket ever since. And I told him if he ever fires me, that I will hunt him down. I've learned so much. So, you know, I'm all for creating something like this because for me as an agent, I'm still a producing agent and a team lead. So for me as an agent, to have everything that is in this program on autopilot just from a rip off and duplicate piece is hugely important. So whether you're a new agent, a good agent who's, you know, doing a great volume, but wants to maybe do a little bit more and have a little bit of your time back, this could be a great thing for you because it's literally a rip off and duplicate. So you could take every single email and pop it into your action plans, and all of a sudden you've got a cadence for every communication that you need that you're actually going to use. And I'll tell you, you know, when I came to Compass in 2021 as a founding member, I was the first member in North Carolina. And I did not convert to Compass immediately because I didn't understand it. And I didn't see how it was going to benefit me or my clients. And it really took me understanding how to value proposition all of the tools that we have as Compass agents that other brokerages don't have, to be able to put that to the benefit of the consumer. And then to be able to utilize all those things, it takes time to set up all those action plans. It takes time to set up task lists, all of that stuff. All of that time is gone. It's really going to be you picking the pieces of this that you want, putting them into your system, putting it on autopilot, down from the time that someone comes into your system as a lead to years after they close on their home. So when you think about monitoring a relationship and what a CRM is truly supposed to do, is it is supposed to systematize relationship management. And but most of them don't do that because we don't use them to their fullest extent. This system gives you a way to do that. That's just one piece of what he's offering. So, I've spent over $100,000 with Chirag since August of last year. The fact that he's now put all of this together for $5,000 is kind of like, well, what? That is way.
Well, they could do it for $250 a month too.
Yeah,
right?
or $250 a month. It's so cheap because you're getting the trainings, you're getting the videos, all of the things that I've had my team watch and my team do, which has taken us from selling 12 to 16 houses a month to selling almost a house a day every month since February. Success leaves clues, and there's magic there when you use the systems that you have and when you know how to articulate to a client the benefit to them. And I'll tell you, when we go on listing presentations, we do not lose unless we want to. And for me, that's a hard thing to say out loud because I never want to lose. I just don't like working with crazy. It is very hard to beat us as a team and us as Compass because we know how to articulate how the system benefits the seller and how it benefits the buyer. And that is, there's going to be a separation in this marketplace. And we're already seeing it. We're seeing a separation of agents who are exiting the business because the market is contracting. We're seeing businesses that are down 30%. Our business is up 30%. In a contracting market. And there's all kinds of reasons for that. But the biggest reason is because we're doing things automatically, systematized, and they're consistent. And we are in sync with our clients. And this system helps with all of that. And it gives you an ability to have some time back. So you're not married to your computer all the time. I just went to Bermuda for 7 days and I almost didn't even check email. It was pretty awesome.
Look, if it works for her, it works for everyone. And my team sent me a note that it wasn't clear. It's for the $5,000. It's buy 6 months, get 6 months free. And the thing that I find most valuable about being this founding member, even as the program prices raise, and it'll eventually be $500 a month, is going to be the ability to renew with an annual set of bonuses. And if you're a team, once these founding memberships are gone, there will never be team pricing again. It's an individual based program. So if you have a team and you want to do this for everybody and align your staff, because think about it, how great is this when this entire thing's mapped out? Like it says, Gretchen can do this, James can do this, Mavis can do this, Jane can do this. And it's aligning your team around one process. Like once you have one thing, it makes it really easy to do because then you just have to learn and do it over and over and over again. So I want to open this up for Q&A and see who has any questions. Or I'll ask you guys, just like I asked the people to ask, like what your clients think, like, would you like to take the next step? Or like, who thinks here this is a good thing to get into? There's only a few people. And if you're stuck, let us answer your questions. Because if you're here, you're still thinking about it. Mm-hmm. I see Victoria's here and she's deep in thought. Uh-huh. Oh, Jane already signed up.
I can tell you this. I've seen the entire program and I'm not an overseller of things, right? Like I've spent a lot of money and I've invested a lot of money in my team and in Chirag and in learning and growing. And I'm reaping the rewards for that now, right? And I will continue to reap them. I'm not overselling this. This is every piece of everything that you need to operate a business, whether you want to scale or whether you want to stay exactly where you are, but you want your time back. And it is easy to use and it works.
That's it. And look, we're here to answer your questions. Like if you have questions of how will this work for you or what is it, ask. It's not that many times we get to be in a small setting where we just open it up because there's tons of people on these calls and we wanted to make this something a little more intimate for people. Don't be shy.
My only thing is I've gone through what she said and I thought I had Compass 10 by $10 still and nothing's popping up. So that's my only thing. I think it sounds like a great program.
Well, what I would tell you is this is email the marketplace. Did you spend all your 10 by $10?
I'm sure I didn't.
So email the marketplace. They make errors all the time. and someone will get in touch with you. And at worst case scenario, look, as Lindsay Rothman said at our last panel, she says for $250, we put it on our feet and stomp around the ground. It's
He
it's the
means
part,
that you buy shoes with that.
yeah. You know, the part that really, I would say, worries me, and this is independent of anything that we're doing, is the way that people value themselves. And they're going to say, okay, Chirag, that's a pretty crazy statement. If you look at it, we spend hundreds of dollars a month transactionally on things all the time. You don't ever think about it. You want to go out with friends for dinner and drinks, you go. You know, you want to go to a baseball game or a football game or something with your kids, you just go, right? We spend $200 to go to a gym. We spend money on personal training. Like, you spend money everywhere on stuff. For God's sakes, you'll spend, if you're doing geographic farming, you're spending $1,000+ a month to send pieces of mail to strangers in their mailbox. And if someone's going to give you something for $250 or $5,000, that literally will change your life, show you how to use all the tools here together and does all the work for you and keeping updated, and you have to think about it twice. I would encourage you to go in the mirror and ask yourself, why is it so hard? And why don't I believe in me? People like Gretchen and I were like two kindred spirits, because we always know, like, oh, if I could put the investment in myself, I know I'm going to win because I know I'm going to do the work. It's easy. I send a postcard in the mail. I don't know what's going to happen. I have hope, but I have to send that postcard 12 months continuously to get anything out of it.
You got to believe, you got to bet on yourself, right? We're in a you eat what you kill business. You have to bet on yourself. And that's kind of always been my mindset.
Yep. So who has a question? If not, we're getting to time. Obviously, we'll stay after if you guys have more questions, but let us know how we can be helpful.
I'm putting my email in here too. If y'all have questions or anything or sidebar conversations, I'm in Raleigh. I would love to chat with you. I'm a collaborator and we'll share anything that I've learned.
Oh, the question I asked in the chat also was, what about times? What are these early in the morning, in the middle of the day? What's the timing on these?
There'll be an East Coast version, a West Coast version, right? So we haven't aligned exactly on the times yet, but they're going to be offered 6 different sessions, 8 different sessions, depending on the week, at multiple different times. Everything is also recorded. And the nice part about the sessions is you can ask Q&A. Right. And instead of like going on Compass CRM saying, here's an action plan, here's a node, here's how you log in activities, it's going to say, no, here are the 4 buttons that Chirag wants you to hit. And then here's the next thing you do after it. And here's how they all go together. And a lot of these sessions will be repeated because there's only so many different things you can do with this.
Yeah.
And then how many people will be in a class? Or is it just like, it could be 1,000 people logging on, or 10?
You could have 1,000 people, or you could be one day where there's 3 people and you're going to get like one-on-one attention.
I will tell you this, and I've done the playbook with Chirag twice now, and we had our entire team do it. If you come prepared and you are ready to like ask an objection and you're willing to like tease that out in that session, you're going to win every time, because you know, the squeaky wheel always gets the grease. And so I would say you if you've got a question, you'll get it answered in that session.
Yep. So for all the other black screens out there, do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns? How can we be helpful? You guys are still here. I can't imagine all of you just have your kind of just listening to us on autopilot. So.
Okay, somebody's giving me information in the chat.
Anybody else? As they say, I already signed up and can't wait to say.
Yay. Well, we're excited. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thanks
you.
for the invite,
As
Chirag.
always, with love in my heart, I love you all. Either way, take advantage of what you learned today, and let's create a better community together tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Bye.